Okay, so let's see if this is working. It says I'm live, and guys, let me know if. Yeah, sorry. Oh, good, you hear me. Great. Yeah, I see the ads too. So I think we're working, which is a good thing. A really good thing. So good. So let's get started. So hey, welcome to an update. It's going to be a relatively short one, but a sweet one. The good news is, I mean, for me, this actually worked the first time. So wow, okay, that was certainly a lot better than the last time, I streamed. Anyway, so hope everybody here who's in chat is doing fine. Those who are going to listen later, I hope you all are okay. In terms of the studio, we are doing fine. We're working from home. We certainly may have had a couple folks in Seattle, who had something. And certainly it's been a stressful time for all of us, working from home, even in the best of conditions is not, all that great, at least not for me and not for a lot of other folks. On the other hand, the good news is that I'm sitting here talking to you folks, and that's a really good thing. So what am I here to talk about? Really, really simple. Let's get to it. The opening of the island for IT, including the first pass at the RBR scenario, the devout classes. Everything, or almost everything we've been talking about for the last few weeks on the forums and, obviously in the 90-day plan. Now, what does this all mean? It means that I am just about to hit send to send a message, of course, out to all of our IT backers, inviting them in 30 minutes to Nawada Prep. And why is this good? Well, of course, it's good because now we feel confident enough about where we're at on a whole lot of levels to invite our IT backers to help play the game, give us feedback, test it, and get it ready for the rest of you folks. And, this is just to answer a very quick question. Are they working on CU? Yes, this is CU. This is all CU. This is a CU stream. This is why I said a Camelot Unchained stream. I won't be talking about FSR. So yeah, this is all for Camelot Unchained. This is all part of the 90-day plan. Now, we've had some, obviously, challenges, of course, over the last couple of months, like everyone else has. It has not been easy. On the other hand, boy, we got a lot done. When you go into the game, what you'll see right now is about 10 million blocks worth of buildings that you folks get to, some of which you get to smash. This was built by Trivial and the Builders Brigade and Scott Florence. And I don't know who else helped, I'm sorry. I should have asked that beforehand, but obviously Scott and Trivial are, two of our biggest, Builders Brigade folks. So we are getting great work from them. They are working very closely with us to help identify what the right block count should be, so we can have these great buildings that you can blow stuff up. The devout, I said some of the devout. So the devout are in only if you go in via the experimental patcher. That's in the document that IT now has in its hands, and you folks will see as well. You have the keyboards in. You have the first pass of not only the scenario in terms of the basic layout, but the artistic layout as well, though that is a huge work in progress. The art team is working with Andrew closely to see what we can come up with before the end of the 90 days to make it look great. Right now, I consider it a very, very work in progress. Obviously, everything has to be done in its own order. And And, you know, we didn't want to spend a lot of time on doing the art and the assets until we were sure about some other things. And so now Andrew is working on one of those other things. We'll see what happens with that. But he has, no matter what, been working closely with Joseph and Michelle to try to put the art team in a position where they can churn out even more assets. So when you go in there, expect to see something that looks like what it is, a work in progress. On the other hand, what's important about it, hugely important, is the performance that we want to see in general from building destruction. And that's the big deal, right? You know, look, we said from the beginning that we have this great cube system and that we can do things that other games can't do in terms of networking, this kind of building destruction. And the Cherry Keep showed that last May. And that was great, but that was one building. Granted, it was a big building, but it was one building. And so this is the next step. And the idea is that you have to be able to go in and you have to be able to play when there are a lot of buildings up there and a lot of buildings being shot at the same time. And that's part of what this is designed to do. So, you know, IT will have first crack at it. I saw it yesterday. It was flying around. But I think there were 120 trebuchets and NPCs throwing things at, I think 7 buildings were in there at the time. And performance was fine. And, you know, it's not just, oh, but maybe you have a great machine. Well, it's not, it has actually only partially to do with the kind of machine you have. It's our ability to network all of that. And so, yeah, that seemed to be working, which is great. We just tested it an hour ago, and that was great. And so now we want ITs to go in and really test it and really beat on it and to give us lots and lots of feedback. And that's what is, you know, that's why it's such a big and important step. And like we've been saying, you know, since middle of February, you know, we were going to lay out a 90-day plan. We wanted to see how, you know, how far we needed to obviously push things like in building destruction, but also what else we could get done. And we obviously have gotten a lot done. We have more to go. But yeah, I am really excited to get you folks, you know, in there. And let's see how it goes when we have, you know, all those buildings and all those NPCs and you guys in there and Keeplords in there and Overmind doing its thing. So yeah, it's great. We're really excited about what we've seen so far in terms of performance. Obviously not finished, but not, you know, we are certainly not at a point where we look at things and go, oh my God, we will never make this work at scale. Well, no, this is pretty, when you think about how people could possibly build in the live game, you're not going to have that many scenarios, or not, I shouldn't say scenarios, but that's what actually it is, that many situations, because you are going into a scenario now, situations where you're going to have that many buildings, that many blocks, all within a very short distance. And again, like we always say, we haven't done a lot of work in terms of final optimizations on things like this because we're just getting to the point of having a lot of people and a lot of NPCs and a lot of buildings. So that's it. So yay, excitement. Like I said, ITs, I hope you come on in. I hope you give us lots of feedback. We've got forum threads up. We'll be doing all the stuff we normally do about talking to you, get your feedback. Please, 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 please come and help us. We're begging you to come and help us. This is what you've been waiting for. You know, this is what we promised that we were going to deliver. And we're doing just that. So that's the big news. No other news, nothing bad. I know it's been, you know, a tough time for the world, tough time for certain individuals on our team as well. But look, you know, we're still committed. You know, other folks have, you know, unfortunately had to shut down. Lots of companies have had layoffs. Lots of companies have had to do things which we haven't. We are just continuing to work on Camelot Unchained. We're continuing to work on Cube, etc. And, we're very lucky to be able to keep doing that in the situation the world is in right now. So, we hope you'll join us. We hope you're excited about this. Again, this is no surprise. We've been, telling you folks that this is what we're going to be working on. And, obviously we stuck to that. And so that's it for me in terms of big and, got to talk about it. So now, happy to talk about you guys, some of your questions for a little bit. So shoot. And let's start with Signa Gibbs. Mark, I asked this on the forums, but I was wondering if you were still looking for volunteer professional QA testers. Sure, the more the merrier. Let's talk on the forums. I am certainly very interested in getting more people to help test. It's really important. I mean, it's crucial to get more people in and testing. Zelen, when we'll be able to stream content to talk about and promote? When this scenario and the home islands are back up and we have a 24/3 server. I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to have, just as I've been saying again for 90 days at this point, about, I think 60 days. Sorry, glad it's not 90 days yet. About the 24/3. That's when we are going to be happy to have people, promote and stream, because at that point we're saying, okay, we've got something really solid. We got something that shows where we're going with things. We got something where it's not just, pre-canned scenarios, but there's more to it. And as big as the current RVR area is, I think there's going to be a lot of action around it. So that would work. How do you become IT? You can buy somebody's tier who would like to sell it if they're no longer interested. Or if you've done something to help really promote Camelot Unchained and you can be available, then we can always talk about it. We really do like people who give us a hand, and happy to reciprocate. When do you anticipate this? Herds the word. Oh, sorry, that was all 3 gaming. Herds, when do you anticipate this opening beyond IT? As soon as possible. We want to get all of you folks in this and playing it. And so, if IT jumps right in, and we hope they do over the next few days, we may be able to even open it this weekend. If they do and they find bugs, then we'll wait, if it's bad bugs. For example, we want to have a devout in shape, so you don't need to use the experimental patcher. It's not a question of really are the devout fleshed out that way. It's that we haven't gotten the patcher yet to recognize them, the regular patcher. So when we can move to the next patcher, that'll be fine. Because if you want to play the devout, you actually have to be able to create a class. And so, we know we already have a fix in, I believe. We just haven't moved it over yet. And frankly, I didn't want to move over anything today, which could hold up this test. After IT testing, will scenario be open to both alpha and beta 1 testers? Most likely. We'll probably do the same sort of thing where we go, okay, alpha's coming, give us some more numbers. And then if everything goes well, we'll open up very quickly to betas. Especially given the time we live in and all the stuff we're all going through. It's really important that, we get this moving a little bit faster, so you folks can come in and play. I mean, that is helping us as much as, it helps you, because we get more eyeballs and fingers and keyboards and all that on it, showing us what we've done well and what we haven't done well. So we want to really get you in there. Hi, Fanglo. Def, are you offering any way to go from beta 1 to IT? I know there are some IT folks that would love to sell their tier to you. let me know on the forums if you're interested, and I'll see if I can, point them your way. Bow bow. For those who missed the beginning, can you say in one of two phrases, what's the news today? Sure. We're opening up Nuada Prep in 15 minutes for IT testing of the new scenario, new map, Keep Lords, Devout via the experimental patcher, etc. So that's what the big news is, and depending on how things go, if they go very well, we'll open it up this weekend potentially for some of our alpha folks, and if it doesn't, we hope next week. It really depends on if we get everything we need in and what the alpha folks find. Hi Strike, hi right back at you. Blazer Strike, can we craft a time portal? I wish we could. Vladis, no, it is Nuada Prep. Portentous, can you update us on how you feel you've been tracking with your goal to achieve those ideas? Are you still channeling the BSC muses? Yes, absolutely. I'm stubborn. I mean, I want to make this happen. I want this game to be successful. I want us to accomplish our goals. I think it's fairly safe to say that in the world was, or if I were different, we might not be here today. We may have shut down the company, but I'm stubborn. I threw more money at it because I wanted to see us deliver on what we talked about. I wanted to deliver a game for, those who have played my other games, and I wanted to deliver it, for new backers and for the team as well. And so, no, still want the BSE. It would be tempting, certainly, and certainly other developers have done this, of just soft launching it and calling it done, or cutting things out, or having things mysteriously vanish that you don't talk about that are taken from your game. Nope, we haven't done that. As for better or worse, as February proved, I am very willing to go out and say, and tell you how I feel, what I think we need to do, why we need to do things. And so we have no intention of changing that right now. Matt Boyd, did you announce an upcoming test? Yes, we did. The test is starting in 13 minutes. I assume you were here. Ask me again if I missed anything. Strike, have you missed anything important? Probably everything like you said. It's just about the test. I see Frequency has responded to that. The man says that someone who has been unemployed for an extended period before and who was living with someone who is currently unemployed. Thank you for keeping the CSE staff working and employed. Yep, we have indeed done that. Investors are, behind us. They believe in CU. They believe in Ragnarok. They believe in Cube. And so, forward we go. Scott Florence, for the scenario, what does your mind's eye see for the style of build as you look towards the center plot? Castle, mega tower, multiple towers, others. I would love to have multiple towers because multiple towers give us the opportunity to do, other things. Now, so does a castle, but I've got ideas. Blazer Strike, I really have never been salty, but after all this time, kind of hard not to be. Hey, I can't disagree with you one bit. I don't mind salty people. I mean, honestly, I expect people to be salty. I expect a lot of people to be salty. I expect them to be disappointed. But the thing is, we are delivering, albeit slowly, more slowly than anyone would have liked. On the other hand, come into the match. You see, you're going to see things that you can't see in other games. Come into Ragnarok. You'll see things there you can't see in other games. And that's the point, that we are delivering, we're pushing forward, and yeah, we said we were going to work on a 90-day plan, and we're delivering on it. And again, don't mind salty, I really don't. If this was 6 months after we launched, the Kickstarter, and that's 7 years almost, I would blame you for being salty. But after this time, not one bit. Really want Rowley Stang. Really want to try out the Abbott. How do I get the experimental patches set up? Hopefully, it won't be experimental by the time you get it into it, Rowley. Frequency, I could actually no live test this game until May 4th. Yeah, we hope you're going to do that. We want to put this server up all the time. I mean, that's the goal. We want to get to 24/3. The only way you get to 24/3 is actually having the servers up more and more. So that's the goal. Combat sack. Hi, Mark. If you were to put your nuts on an anvil, what is the rough estimate for release? Yeah, I'm not going to do that, so I don't have to give you that. I can't answer it. But in all seriousness, we're pushing hard. You can see it. You see what the team's working on. One of the things that I've said to folks on the forums is that, we said 2 months ago we were going to really focus, as was the plan, on CU. We were going to get a lot of stuff in. And, you can see that from the update I did last month, the mini update, this update, that we're doing that. And for those who have been playing Ragnarok, you can say the opposite, that we haven't been adding a lot of new content to it because we've been doing the CU content. So, I can tell you we're pushing hard, and, hopefully the results will be worth it. Nicholas, sorry. I hope everyone is hale and doing well. As well as can be expected. I said earlier in the stream, we have some folks who are sick, but so far nobody who's been, in a life and death situation, which is great. There have been some losses among family members. It's not a pleasant time for anybody, and we're no different. But the good news is that, as far as the team goes, we're doing okay. Strike, do you use that anti-bug spray can next to you for CU? I wish it worked that way. Yeah, we get a lot of wasps out here. As you might be able to, you really can't see, sorry, you can only see it in the reflection. There are a lot of trees around us, and a lot of wasps. So, yeah, it's kind of necessary. All three gaming. I thought that was a funny dig actually. Yeah, that I would have given you credit for snark on that. The 90-day plan was laying out a bunch of things that we wanted to get done within 90 days. It was a way of, obviously trying to give all of our backers an idea, and a very good one, of what's coming in on the game over the next 90 days. And so we laid out things like the scenario, the devout class, keep lords, overmind, integration and stuff like that. So that's the 90-day plan. What daily convenience do you miss the most since the beginning of the apocalypse? Oh, that's easy, and it's not really daily because, Lady J, besides being a fabulous baker, though I can't eat most of what she bakes these days, so I lose more weight, but I have been losing. She's also become a good cook, but I do miss restaurants. I do. I love restaurants. I really love restaurants. I miss Korean barbecue, especially. We live in an area with a very large Korean population, and so we have some of the best Korean food around. It's fantastic. So I definitely miss that. Blazer Strike. Well, I'm glad you still believe. So do we. Portentous. Thanks for the honest answer. Always. I've always said that, people might not always like what I have to say, but I always say the truth. I mean, better or worse. So you are more than welcome. Saldry, delay as many times as you need to make the game you believe in. Well, I don't want to keep delaying. I really don't. In a perfect world, we'd be in a position right now where we could hire a lot more people so I could speed it up. I don't want to delay it. I want it to be the right amount of time. The good news is, and look, one thing you don't hear a lot from us these days is Linuxification. While we're working on it still, very small percentage of the team as opposed to what it was before. And now it's the point of just how low can we, go in terms of the Linux servers. It's not a question of will it work. We know it works. It works well. And now it's just a question of making it more efficient. And that, fortunately, is not a big team effort. It's mostly one individual with some help at times. Matt Boyd, you are most welcome. I'm always going to be stubborn. It's just my way. Nigolith. Yep. I want to continue to try to be innovative. Look, it's what you don't want to say, and it sounds so tropish, I apologize, and egotistic, which it isn't. But I've always been about that. I mean, let's face it, when my first online game was when people barely heard of MUDs. There were, 2 in the whole world at the time. And then online games, Mythic in the beginning when people didn't like online games. And then Dark Age of Camelot, and then Warhammer, and they were all, those 2 MMOs were 2 very innovative games in many ways, especially considering that, in the case of Dark Age, we were a tiny team. And so, I always want to be innovative. I'm not looking to do a genre-defining, game in the sense of, it's going to break everything, because I think, that doesn't really interest me. On the other hand, I always like to say that our games are, a mixture of evolutionary things and then, a few revolutionary things. And, I try to do that in almost every game I created, so that isn't going to change. Pixie Punch Pie. What important features are being tested in this scenario? Ooh, just a few. Obviously, the RVR scenario, Keep Lords, the Devout, Overmind, channeling is a specific ability. So there's a whole bunch of things that we're doing. A whole bunch. Hisai, are those investors pressuring on changing anything of the game to make it more appealing to a broader audience? No, that's what Ragnarok is for. The investors understand what CU is. And look, I could have changed CU years ago. We had interest, but I don't want to make it what other games are. I don't want to make it a free-to-play game. I don't want to, rely on stealing people's, lunch money, as Scott Jennings coined the phrase, I believe, years ago at Mythic. We don't want to do stuff like that. I don't want to do stuff like that, and the investors know that. And so, they're all good with Camelot Unchained being the way it is. And, that's one of the beauties, of course, of Ragnarok as well, that it goes for a more casual audience, a different audience than most of you folks. And so, any pressure from them, there hasn't been. Even if there was, that's why we got that. That's what that game, and that audience, we're aiming for. So, all good. Def, if you do not receive enough IT backers on this or the next few tests, any interest in giving out some as gifts and rewards? Absolutely. Already do that. You know, I, you know, if you've got a whole lot of IT folks and you can't get enough of them to come in, well, there's no reason why we shouldn't get more people to come in. How far out do you, Sin Theta? How far out do you think we'll move into the next beta phase? I'll let you know a month after this test. That's such an important test for us. The next month and I don't mean the next month until May. I mean the next month once we put this up, once it's in really good shape for alphas and betas to join in. That's going to be hugely important to us. I mean, hugely important. That's, again, you're looking at some of the fundamental systems of the game being tested by a lot of people at the same time. And so it doesn't get better than that or scarier than that at the same time because, if things go as expected, yay, great. If there's some fundamental issues, not so great. Are we worried about the latter? No, not really. But I learned a long time ago, you never know. Once you get, real human beings in there, playing the hell out of things, trying different things, trying to break things whenever possible, that's when you find stuff out. So we'll see. Wayward. Please confirm to Camelot that Hellbound is better than the Blessed Crow. To each their own. But I do, I love them all. Hands. MJ in the doghouse doing stream from enclosed porch. It's kind of weird. When I was, and I know a lot of people I like this as well, but so I'm not saying I'm that weird. But I was one of those kids, growing up who always liked to be outside. And, I loved when we were able to have classes outside. I was always one of the guys, arguing for the whole, oh yeah, let's go outside. It's a really great day. Let's have classes outside. And in all the years that I was, programming, I never actually got a chance for more than, maybe taking a laptop out when it was powerful enough, to do anything outside. So as soon as it warmed up enough that I could actually be in this room and not freezing my butt off, I was like, okay, I'm moving my stuff in here. And so, yeah, it's, a question was asked earlier about what do I miss the most in terms of, the daily convenience, because of the apocalypse. This is like one of the few things that I can say I've actually really enjoyed. It has been fun, to be able to sit out in the enclosed porch and open the windows a bit, feel the breeze, and, do my work. It's been, like I said, it's the best. Scott Florence, how are you? How's life treating you at home? As well as can be expected. Look, one of the things I've said, to Michael, my boy, as well as to other people I talk to, you're never going to hear, me bitch about it. I can't, considering how hard it is for some people, including for some people on my team. I have no right to bitch about anything, that I have to do because of this. And so I won't. So my answer is I'm doing great. And I am. And that'll always be the answer, as long as we can all stay healthy, because that's the only thing that matters, to us, as a family, as a studio, and as a world, that we want to get through this as quickly as possible and with as little sadness as possible. Solenmere, I'd be more disappointed if you ended development phase and released Camelot Unchained. Yeah, so would I. Remember, Tim, is most of the work on the engine done and backend done now? Oh, no, that's an ongoing thing, but, and you're always developing that. And it was the same with Dark Age, the same with Warhammer. You never stop working on the engine and backend because things come up, things change, you find errors. The question is, where's the thrust of the development team? And the thrust of it, the majority of it, is on game stuff, not engine stuff. And that's a change. Look, we had, as much as people want to get mad at me for it, we had to spend time on Linuxification. We just did. And it took longer than was expected. Did it take longer than expected? Excuse me. Yes, it did. But it wasn't like we were porting my game Galaxy. That was easy when I did that many years ago. This was hard, quite hard. But the focus on the team is not on that. The focus is on gameplay and doing things. Anthony working on the Devout. Great example of that. Christina and the gameplay team doing things, yes, for Overmind, which would count, as, engine slash back-end work. On the other hand, what they're doing is gameplay. They're giving us, designers, the ability to do things, through Overmind, as well as the other things that are doing that don't have anything to do with Overmind. So, the days of the majority of the team working on nothing but putting up tech, don't see that happening again. I really don't. Linuxification is working. I mean, it just is. Now, we're making a small effort on trying to make it work better, but not like before. Nowhere near like before. But it's something you always do. It's, when you're making your own game, and it's an online game, you never stop. You never ever stop working on the engine in the back end. Okay. All 3 gaming. So once the game's released to 24:3, is it going to try to go to 24:7? Absolutely. Look, that's where we want to go. And it's hard to say 24:7, but so let's just say we want to go from 23/7 to 24 by something more than 3. Because at times you want to take down the servers. It's not going to be like, Dark Age was on release, where the servers never came down because, well, we had to get to that point. So that's what we want to do as well. But we want to add more and more time. Question from MM Fick. Crowfall was or is the competitor of CU, but I hear CU is falling behind. Do you expect to release before or after around the same time as Crowfall? Well, since I have no idea when they're going to release, because I'm not following the game, nor do I work there, I'm not going to answer that. I can't answer that question. In terms of them being a competitor, whatever. There were a lot of competitors for Dark Age. There were a lot of competitors for Warhammer. There's always competitors. We just have to make a great game. That's all that matters. Zaylin, those of us who have a large community influence reach, what can we be doing to help at this stage? Nothing. Don't, please. Help us, when we have something to stream. Help us when you can look at what we're doing and go, yep, I really want to help. You've proven to me, that you guys are delivering. Late, but delivering. Then we'd love to have you help. Zadrid, got sidetracked and missed the start of the stream. What did I miss? Oh, nothing. Nothing important. No, you missed that. We're opening up the scenarios, and the scenario and the new island and the Devout, and lots of trebuchets blowing up 10 million blocks worth of buildings. So nothing much. See you in the scenario. MJ, what are you doing for your mental health these days? Working my ass off, Wayward. Working my ass off. I mean, I am on 70-hour weeks right now, minimum. So I did some gaming the first couple weeks, played some Subnautica, Sub-Zero. I've been part of the early access for that game. So I played some of that. And, then once I thought I was, in the right state of mind, I just upped my hours significantly. I mean, not that I work hard anyway, but now I'll be found on our stream at 1 in the morning, working on overmind stuff or doing stuff for the investors or doing all the things I have to do. I should be exercising more, so I am going to get to that. Frequency, any possible timeline on CU merch? Not right now. Shanana, well, I brought the int here. Thank you for that. What can we expect when this game goes live? Everything we talked about with the inn. Nothing has changed. We want you to own, a very significant piece of property. We want you to be able to do fun stuff with it, and we want it to be special. And that, again, nothing has changed. Same with the island tiers. So, we're looking forward to getting to work on them. And that's one of the things that, because we've been making the editor better and better, and some of the stuff that Andrew's working on, the whole idea is to make it even easier for our team to build these spaces. And that's a big focus for us. Still scrolling now. Yeah, frequency. Korean barbecue is OP. Oh my God. When a good buddy of mine really introduced me to, Korean food decades ago, I was just like, oh my God, this is good. So good. I had only had one experience with Korean food prior to that, because growing up in New York, weren't a lot of Korean restaurants. Chinese restaurants everywhere. Korean restaurants, non-existent. And, went to school in upstate New York. And at that time, also, Korean restaurants, non-existent. And so when I came down here, there weren't as many, especially when I was more focused around the DC area. And then fast forward a few years, I had gone to, 2 Korean restaurants, didn't know what to order, and, wasn't terribly happy with the response, I got from the food. I then, many years later, my buddy said, okay, who's Korean? Said, okay, well, I'll take you out and just let me order. Oh my God, the world changed, changed so much. And yeah, we eat a lot of Korean barbecue. Let's see. Vox, when will the servers be open for backers? IT is going, actually, IT should be open now. It's supposed to open at 4:30. We'll be opening it for alphas as soon as the IT folks get through it and we get in good shape. It's why I loved Warhammer Online. I adored the Public Quest system and the Tome of Knowledge. Yeah, the Tome and the Public Quest system were awesome. Ideas for good things are great, but then other people have to make them awesome, and they were. So, hopefully, we'll have our moments of glory with this game. I have no doubt we will. On my side, what's up, and dog? I hope you're keeping safe and healthy. Certainly, couldn't keep more safe. We're well stocked here, provision-wise, and we've been limiting going out for quite a while, and we follow not just what they are recommending now. I've been paranoid about this for a while, so we're doing a lot of smart things. So hopefully, we'll be in good shape. Bughole, did you watch the Dayox stream lately? Nope, I don't. I have no connection with that game anymore or the company that runs it, so I don't follow it. GeoFat, do you believe the NDA on CU would be lifted prior to launch? Oh, for those of us, oh my God, yes. I mean, I want to lift it. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Same thing. This is that consistent thing. I've been saying that once we were comfortable with the beta, we would lift the NDA. Or we take the NDA to the next level, which is similar to what we did in Warhammer and other games have done as well, is that there's a general, yes, you can stream, except on things you can't stream. For example, if we're running private tests, we don't want people to stream them. If there are things that are broken and we're testing broken things, we don't really want those streamed. But the default will be streaming unless we say otherwise. Mirrored Smith. Thank you for the love for Warhammer. It was a great game, really good game. Should have been an even better game. That is not the fault of the vast majority of the team that made it. But yeah, it had a lot of great things in it, and I think we will have it here. Saldry. Hey, anyone who is an FSRIT who really wants to help out on CU, all you got to do is ask. I mean, it's that simple. It really is. Just ask. Anyone who's been helping us out there is welcome to help us out on CU. Oh, Tataki. Hi, Mark. How do you feel having 3 realms? Do you feel having 3 realms is superior to having 2? Oh my God. Okay, quick story. Rich Lawrence, heathen of Kesmine, now of New World. Rich many decades ago. Well, maybe. Yeah, no, it was at this point decades ago. And John Taylor, also of Kesmine, and I were talking about things. I believe this was the same conversation. It might have been 2 conversations. But, between John and Rich, we're having in-depth, talks about, things like whether you trust the client, and Rich was one of the, I think, was the first guy I ever heard say, don't trust the client. But, one of the questions I asked John Taylor was, hey, John, why did you go with 3 realms or 3 sides for a warrior, not just 2? And he said, in a Southern accent, which I will not try, because he had a very nice one, not heavy, and just a good little bit of a good accent. Said, well, it's because if you have 3 sides, then 2 can always team up against the larger sides. So, 4 side, not size, sorry. So yes, for this game, I absolutely believe 3 sides are better than 2. And because I'm sure somebody will ask the follow-up, well, why didn't you do that in Warhammer? Well, that was the original plan, and then things changed. And that's all I'll say about that. And so it went down to 2. Villainous question, could you please inform people what is required of them for internal testing? Do you mean internal testers or people who want to get internal testing? Follow that up, please, and I'll respond. Big Zach, do any members of the team play any DAOC free shard servers? I don't know what the team does in terms of that. I don't, certainly. Would not do that. And I don't mean that for a bad reason. Like, I don't like free shard servers. It's nothing to do with that. It's that there'll be a lot of very sad memories for me. And so I'd rather not play the game. If we had control of it, sure. But we don't. And, I really don't want to, go back and play it. It'll bring up, a lot of, again, bad memories. Jack Mode, with your extensive experience, I'm old. I'm curious about your philosophy when it comes to balance. Will you be more conservative when it comes to changes, or quick to act when something is obviously out of line? It's a bit of both. By the way, 10-minute warning, folks. I want to end this at 5 because I want to get into the IT test. So I think it's a combination. I think there are times you have to react, as fast as possible. You really do. I mean, if you've got stuff like dupe bugs, if you've got things that are so absolutely fugly that you have to, you should react, then you should react. On the other hand, I think you need to be sometimes a little less reactive about changes, depending on where a lot of the feedback came from. If the feedback came from players, you have to make sure that they're telling you the truth, because who knows? Who knew? Humans lie. Developers lie, players lie, publishers lie a lot. So you have to be sure. Now, if you've got metrics data and the metrics is actually friggin' working, then that's a slightly different story. So, and then once you do that, then you've got to triage and figure out, okay, is this a bug that has a great effect on the day-to-day experience of the players? If it is, it's a higher priority. Okay, is this a bug that, can again be something like duping, or something that is so unbalancing that it means that, a group of players, a class, an entire class, just don't have a chance anymore. So there isn't an easy answer. I mean, anyone who says there is has never developed one of these games, because there's no one-size-fits-all for how do you respond to bugs and design errors, other than, it's really a cost-benefit analysis. So, Beck and R, is there any news on release, or are we still not able to put an accurate date on that? Nope, we're not. The stream is about the opening of the next stage for beta testing, not in the sense of beta 1, beta 2, but the stage of, hey, sorry, forgot, nobody told me to hydrate. Stage of, we want to get to a 24/3 server, and this is the first step. Suicide Run, no question, just hope you and your family and team are healthy and safe. We are certainly doing our best, and the same to you and yours, of course. Sigma Gibbs, about the aesthetics, I couldn't agree more in Dayak. We did a great job, again, for a very small team, and we want to do really well with that as well here. Philip, hey Mark, I hope you and your team are doing well. God bless. Thank you. I hope you and yours are also well. We're doing as well as can be expected, and the good news is, for those who are wondering about the team itself, no fatalities and no one desperately sick. Which is good. Nobody on ventilators or anything like that. We had a few people who've had bouts of something, but everyone is recovered. Okay, 8 minutes just to let you folks know. Ningoth, has there been any thought given updating the race and class pages? Oh my God, yes. Yeah. They're a little old. So look, before we lift the NDA, we know the web page needs an update. I would say a refresh, but it's past the refresh date. We need to pour some resources at it, and we'll do just that. Rising Light, will Camelot Unchained have shapeshifters? Absolutely. They're one of the, if you look in the class and races, you'll find them. Zanzu, it has been previously said that anti-Zerg mechanics will exist to help respond to potential population imbalance. Is there a point where you would hard cap a faction population? Yeah, absolutely. If things were so bad, then you have to do that. You just have to do that. Because if you don't, then things just get worse. And, yes, so we would do that. Sparvarius 101, assuming C launches is successful, how long do you think future games from CSC will take to develop? I can guarantee you they won't take this long. I mean, I don't want to go on another, 7-year adventure. That's part of why we're doing what we're doing. For better or worse, Ragnarok shows people, especially those who, are interested in the back end of stuff, the technical aspect of game design and game development, is that, with our tech and a team not even working full time on it, and a small team, while still working on CU, what we were able to do. So yeah, I can pretty much guarantee that the next game we do, after all these, if there's another game, I assume there will be, won't be 7 years. I would much prefer 2 years, actually. Remember Tim? Yeah, me too. His question, he said that he's not mad that the engine took a lot of time, especially if it doesn't die when 1,000 people show up to a siege. Man, that's what we're going for. Okay, I'm going to look for the last question, folks, because it's 5-minute warning. I'll jump on any yes, no's I see in the beginning. Plate Sick, yes, the game will most likely be available on Steam and or the Epic Store and or whatever else down the road. Tetrahelix, you find everyone is getting more done while working from home. No, the opposite. It's just hard. It's just really hard. Communication is harder. People are stressed more. People can't interact in the same way. So, just it's no way it's getting more done. Vox, what up? MJ, looks like you're a DJ party. Just need the lights and music. Yeah, that'd be great. Geofat, you're welcome. Tetrahedrix, what's in Badar? Nice. Perfect. +1. Well done. Warhammer was missing the 3rd realm from Cav. Yep, it was. Jesper, is everything running on Linux servers now? No, but that the goal was never to get everything running. It'd be nice if we could. But most of them, and the ones that take up the most CPU, were the ones that we were focused on. A lot of it would be, all of it would be great, but at that point, it's also a cost-benefit analysis. WTF. I'm glad that the Warhammer free shards are doing well. Yay. Raf, can we expect more information on other Viking races soon? Yes, I hope so. Blaze a Strike, take Camelot. Thank you, you too. Diagon. Oh, that's a good one because there's a bit of nasty to it. And I don't mean that you're being nasty, but there's an edge to the question. No, I'm not. And Jackmo, thank you for jumping in. I'm actually going to answer it because it's a really good question. Like I said, there's no reason why you shouldn't, have a nasty streak. Oh, not a nasty streak. Sorry, take that back. The question has a bit of an edge to it. So, and the question starts off great. What is your philosophy accepting money from investors that pressure you to change aspects of the game to appeal to a larger market? Now, the question starts off just fine. And then the second part makes it look like we accepted money from people who are pressuring us to change the game. So there's an edge to the question, and that's great. I have absolutely no problem with that. And so, hopefully you're still in the chat since I was a few minutes behind. Yeah, it looks like that you still are. Okay, great, groovy. So look, here's the point. 2 things to keep in mind. Without the investors, we wouldn't have survived this long. It's that simple. I've put in an awful lot of money, and I couldn't match what they put in at this point. So that's number 1. But number 2, which is more important, these investors did not pressure us to change anything with CU. The only thing they would like to change, frankly, is for us to get it up faster. They don't want CU to change. They aren't pressuring us one bit. The situation with EA and Mythic is different. And keep in mind, when I said what I said many years ago about EA and Mythic, after we were bought, that was when there was a certain team of people there. And that's why I made that decision, because certain people who were, in charge and I had a discussion. Fast forward a few years and the whole world changed at EA. And so priorities changed. And then the world changed, of course, with the Great Recession. So it isn't as simple, as I've always said about EA, of, oh my God, they bought you and then everything went to hell. No, that wasn't the case at all. Were there decisions that were made, especially towards the end of Warhammer's development, that I was very much against? The answer is yes. Would those have been made if the people who I signed up with were still there? No, I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. In the beginning, we just passed Easter Sunday. I'm talking about that now. No, but in the beginning, EA was great. I mean, look, they were EA, and so there were things that I had to do that I didn't particularly enjoy, but they were more in the sense of meetings and data and things that I just wanted to make a game. I didn't really want to do those other things. I had this much interest and power there. I just wanted to run the studio and be successful. But then things changed. And so, I think it would have been different if those same people were still there when, it came to the last year. And, my opinion that we should not, launch Warhammer, that we should, wait. But, it is, it is what it is. And with these guys, I've known these guys for a long time. And as I've also said, one has always, I've known pretty much, my whole life. And the only reason I didn't know this person my whole life is because she wasn't born yet. And that other person is my sister. And, if you look at what they did when they invested, most of them, because not all the folks from the last time are in this time. We didn't ask them. What happened? Well, they brought in money, and we were able to make Dark Age of Camelot, and it was great. Not a single complaint about that. Fun Dayak story, and I'll end with that. So these investors were very well off, far more than I was at the time. I had nothing, but by the scale of things, they were very wealthy. And so we couldn't get servers. Dell wasn't, because they had gone through the first bit of a bubble, didn't want to extend credit to, a company like ours that could be an internet, another internet bubble company in their mind. And we're like, we're different than that. And I offered to co-sign, because I co-signed everything else, for gosh sakes, that I needed to. You can only be bankrupt up to a certain point, right? And then beyond that, you're just bankrupt. So, back then it didn't matter. So I offered to co-sign, and they said no. And then, one of the investors said, oh, I'll co-sign for that. It's no problem. And I also know Michael Dell, and so I think we'll be fine. So, we sent him the paperwork, and he co-signed it, and we sent it back to Dell. And Dell was like, nope, sorry, can't, we can't accept it. And I get on the phone with them, and I'm like, did you look at the signature of the co-signer? And they were like, yeah. Does that name ring a bell? And they were like, no. Well, why don't you look at that name again? And they looked at him like, okay, who is he? And I then rattled off who he was and who his family was. And they were like, nope, still won't do it. And I'm like, do you realize that that guy and that family could probably buy Dell back then? And they were like, nope, still not good enough. And I'm like, what was the whole point of this exercise? If you've got somebody who's himself and his family, whose net worth is way more than what we wanted. Like, we wanted these many servers, and their net wealth was out to there, and they wouldn't sign. So yeah, that was a frigging nightmare, and that's one of the reasons why the follow-up story, when the game launched, why we also had to go to Micro Center and get the servers. Not only did we need them, but we didn't have enough spares because we couldn't get any additional servers. So yeah, long answer, great question to end on. Thank you so much. So look, everybody, stay safe, stay uninfected. And as I've been saying in all my updates, try to be kinder to each other if you can be. It's really hard with so many of us, if not all of us, are stressed. We're working in conditions, if we're even lucky enough to be working, we're working in conditions that are difficult on our families if we have them, and ourselves even more so if we don't. And so if you can be a little bit more kind to each other, that would be great. We will, get through this, and hopefully, again, with as little sadness as possible. So as always, I thank you all, backers and not backers, who, came on here, for checking us out. IT folks, get on the servers, man. Get on the water prep. Need you to go on there, see what happens, see if they blow up when all of a sudden a whole lot of people. Please come by and join us for testing if you're IT, and the rest of you folks, we want to get you in as soon as possible. So if you know any IT guys, tell them to get their butts in to help us out so you can get in. And again, stay safe, folks. And Tor, I hope you understand why free shards are becoming so popular. Of course I do. And again, I don't have a problem with them, for in the case of Warhammer especially, because it's a dead game, and for Dog Eat Your Camelot, well, enough said about that. So yeah, goodbye, and I should do more of these streams, and I will, and off I go into testing. So again, stay safe, and have a good night. For those of you, well, it would be anyone who is here live now. It's still not morning for almost all of you, except on the other side of the world. And if there is anyone from the other side of the world, hey, good morning. Okay, bye all.